Thanks for coming on in from the cold and joining me here on the Sports News. We got a lot of hockey to get to. We're going to talk some lacrosse and baseball as well, a lot of stuff. But first, it's going to be the headlines, powered by the Red Zone over on Regent Street and Conan Automotive in Stoughton. Yeah, we got your top stories next, right here on the Sports News on Wisconsin's 57 Sports. Welcome on into the Sports News, your 30-minute look into the tackles, hits, checks, and dunks that make up the local sports scene. I am your host, Rich Reynolds, and let's hit the ground running. You know, at the beginning of the season, no one expected the Wisconsin Badgers football team to be standing on the precipice of a Big Ten championship and a possible college football playoff berth. But there was Bucky in Indianapolis, ranked 6th, and even having a 28-7 lead over number 7 Penn State with 1 minute to go until halftime, and then the dream season turned into a nightmare. The Nittany Lions gashed the vaunted Badger defense with big plays and outscored the Badgers 31-3 the rest of the way to beat Wisconsin 38-31. The loss dropped the Badgers to 10-3 and out of Final Four contention. The Badgers will learn their bowl fate soon enough. Well, as we fearlessly navigate our way through another cold December, we are usually comforted by these annual certainties. There will be a winter solstice as the days will start getting longer. A half dozen radio stations in Madison alone will be playing Christmas songs 24/7, and the UW-Whitewater Warhawks football team will be in the Division III title game. Well, that tradition has sadly come to an end as the Warhawks fell at home 31-14 to John Carroll University. Whitewater is a 6-time national champion and had won an incredible 33 straight home playoff games prior to Saturday's loss at Perkins Stadium. Whitewater finishes the campaign at 12-1. Well, the news was brighter for the highly ranked Badgers women's volleyball team. In front of a raucous, sold-out field house on Friday night, the Badgers swept Washington State to advance to the Sweet 16. Lauren Gillis paced Wisconsin with 12 kills, while Kelly Bates recorded a game-high 10 digs. The field house will come to life again this weekend as the Badgers will host Ohio State, and if they advance, Bucky will play the winner of Florida State and Stanford with a Final Four berth on the line. And with snow in the forecast and ponds starting to freeze, it's nice to go inside and splash around, and that's where the action was Saturday night as the WIAA D1 and D2 state champions from last year clashed in the Sun Prairie Invitational, and Madison Memorial came out on top with 482 points, while Monona Grove, the D2 champ, finished second as a team with 344. Memorial's Drake Horton won the 100-yard freestyle, while the Silver Eagles' Ben McCade won the 200 and 500-meter freestyles. Also, some prep hockey over the weekend saw Verona get doubled up by New Richmond 4-2 and Edgewood get clipped by Green Bay Notre Dame 2-1. And finally, it looked like the Madison Capitals were primed to make a move in the standings as they hosted Cedar Rapids this past weekend at the Coliseum. In fact, Cedar Rapids came in with a record of 1-16-2, but the Rough Riders, they put an end to all that as it was a rough ride for the Caps as Cedar Rapids swept all 4 points, a 4-1 winner on Friday and 2-1 on Saturday night. Caps will be back on home ice this Friday as they continue their quest for a third straight Wisconsin Cheese Cup as they host the Green Bay Gamblers. Hope to see you out there. So for more information and all the 411 on our headlines, check out these fine websites. Stick around. We have more local interviews than anyone else coming up right here on the Sports News on Wisconsin's 57 Sports. You know, usually when we talk to on-ice promotions, we have Ben in, and, you know, as much as we like Ben, it's nice to bring in a fresh face every now and again, and that's what we got right here. The fresh-faced Sean Peterson, who is the tournament operations manager with On-Ice Promotions. And welcome on in, Sean. Thanks for spending some time with us. And if you could, talk to us a little bit today about what the Capital City Cup is and how you're involved with that.
Sure. Thank you very much for having me. The Capital City Cup is one of the largest hockey tournaments in the state of Wisconsin. Last year was our inaugural season with the Cap City Cup. We had well over 60 teams. We had all different age levels from the little guys, the U10ers, all the way up to the big high school kids and the U18s. We have different levels of skill from just your basic beginners all the way up to the elite players. So it's a great thing for us to bring to Madison. We're happy to do it. It gives our kids a great opportunity. So we look forward to bringing it back to Madison for 2017.
And you talked about having over 60 teams last year. Is that the size of the field this year? Did it grow a little bit? How many teams coming in?
Yeah, we grew a little bit. We're anticipating over 100 teams this year, and with such exponential growth, we decided that we're going to now divide it over 2 weekends, the last weekend of April and the first weekend of May. So we've actually separated it out between the elite players playing on one weekend and the open players will play on the first weekend. This allows a little bit of separation. Last year we experienced that with the size of the tournament we had, we were almost running out of ice time. So we needed to divide it up. The kids had a great experience, and we anticipate even bigger growth this next year.
That is a huge tournament. So with all of that stuff going on, what is your role within the tournament itself?
I kind of help out with the teams that are coming into town. So I'll work with the area hotels and restaurants and make sure that all of the teams have a quality place to stay and know where the restaurants are. Make sure that all of the team needs are met. And I also help out with coaching some of the local teams as well.
Now, with that many teams, that also brings in a lot of people. What are some of the net benefits, do you think, to the Madison area?
Well, anytime that we can generate some tourism to Madison gets people a little bit more exposed to what we have going on. They're out spending money at our restaurants and at our malls and our stores and really help boosting the economy. But something that we do that I think is unique about our tournament is that we specifically target weekends that nothing else is really going on. So the hotels and restaurants really benefit from this type of thing because we seek out weekends where there's not a UW commencement weekend or a football game, or some of the larger companies don't have their annual gatherings. So we're looking for those opportunities to fill in some of the stuff where they normally would be lacking.
Scheduling, always important. Sean, thanks a lot for coming on. Good luck with all that.
All right, thank you very much.
Brought to you by Conan Automotive, taking care of you by taking care of your family's car. You know, one sport that's really been growing a lot, even locally, has been girls and women's hockey. And a lot of that's had to do with the success of the program, like the Wisconsin Badgers have with their women's hockey program. And it's nice to see that kind of trickle on down as we talk now with Matt Gallagher, who's the head coach of the Icebergs locally. And Matt, welcome on into the show. And let's talk a little bit, too, about your program and some of the charitable stuff that you guys like to do. We hear that you like to work with charity. What are some of the charities that you like to work with, and how do you pair up with them?
Well, a couple of them that we do are Learn to Skate with the really young kids. We have about 5 or 6 girls that work with the really young kids on Sunday mornings and help them learn to skate and do things like that. On December 15th, we're teaming up with the Military Toys for Tots at a toy drive at one of our home games. And then we do a breast cancer awareness game where we raise money for breast cancer research.
Yeah, doing a toy drive, you know, it seems like this time of the season, always a great thing to do. What made you decide to get involved with the toy drive specifically?
Well, my dad, he passed in April, and one of the things that he's always wanted me to do is use my platform to help to give something back to the world, because the world's given us so much, so we wanted to just give back as basically a charity to other people.
That's a great idea and a great way to do it. So you guys also do something called Pink the Rink, and I kind of like this idea a lot. Talk to us a little bit, if you could, about what is Pink the Rink?
Yeah, Pink the Rink's actually going to happen on January 20th, 2017 at the Matt Community Center. Basically what it is a giant event. We buy pink jerseys, things like that. Raise money for breast cancer research through different things during the game, throughout the game.
So much emphasis on charity work. Why is it so important for you guys to be involved with those charities?
Well, number one, it kind of helps give the program, we kind of struggle for numbers some years, so it's given the program some exposure. Two, it helps to really give back. The girls have fun working with other people with with the little kids and things like that. And, you know, it just brings another aspect of the program back.
How are some of the other ways, too, that the girls that you have that kind of give back to the younger generation of hockey players?
Well, we have quite a few girls that do that learn to skate thing, and that's for the girls and boys 4 to however old, as long as they're going to start skating. They do that at McFarland on Sunday mornings, so they have a lot of fun with that. We've got about 6 girls that do that on a consistent basis.
Great stuff. And Matt, before we let you out of here, we got about 15 seconds. If you could just recap for us again some of the dates, how people can get involved with Pink the Rink and the Toy Drive.
Okay, so the toy drive we have is December 15th at the Mann Community Center. It is half off admission if you bring in a toy and put it into the drive. The Pink the Rink is January 20th at the Mann Center. There's a whole bunch of different events that go on throughout the game that you can donate to for breast cancer research.
Matt, great stuff. Thanks for being here. Keep doing what you're doing.
Okay, thank you.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics. You know, it's always a good time whenever we talk to one of the Mad Rollin' Dolls, and this week we bring in Allie Gator. And Allie, I gotta ask, is that a mask? Is that makeup? It's fantastic.
Thank you. It's actually a makeup that I do myself. It's theater, like oil-based makeup, and I get it from Malat's Pharmacy, who is one of our sponsors.
Oh, so. Wow, even the plug that she throws out there, absolutely love it. And so, how did you come up with the name? I gotta ask that too, because I'm always fascinated by this stuff. Why Allie Gator?
Allie Gator comes from 2 different reasons. One is that I have extensive dental work, so kind of chomp chomp. The second reason is that growing up, my parents used to bowl league, and their team were called the Alligators, and I still have their old bowling shirts and stuff. So kind of homage to the family and an homage to the missing teeth.
And an homage to a different time when people were in bowling leagues.
Yeah,
you know? I mean, yeah, great stuff. So let's talk about some roller derby and what's coming up. What's special about the event that you guys have coming up on Saturday, December the 10th?
Yeah, we are super excited about the kickoff of season 13 this Saturday. Always a fun matchup. We have a little holiday matchup between the green and the red teams, the Quad Squad, which I am a part of, and the Unholy Rollers. So they'll be opening up the evening with the first bout, and then the second bout of the evening is going to be the Vaudeville Vixens versus the Reservoir Dolls. And it's going to be a great bout. Matchups we've seen in the past, but definitely new teams, new skaters, some returning old skaters for some teams. So it's always interesting to see how the first bout of the season goes.
Yeah, that's always good stuff. And talk to me, if you could too, I mean, a little bit about the teams facing each other, the dynamics, if there's any history there. You know, how does that all work? Because I think people are always fascinated about the story, not only about the players, but about the teams as well.
Yeah, so Quad Squad, my home team, won the championship last year, undefeated. So definitely coming in this season strong with a lot of returning skaters. But, you know, the team that we played last year for the championship, the Vaudeville Vixens, we're not playing them this Saturday, but they're going to be playing, and they're going to be a team to watch this season. They're coming in with a lot of returning skaters as well, a lot of fire under their belts, and really wanting to strive and compete for Leggy this year. Leggy is our, of course, our trophy. That is a golden skate leg that we hand around over the years.
Excellent stuff. You know, when I talk to these skaters week in and week out, they take so much pride in what they do and being a part of the community. What do you find rewarding about the whole experience?
There's so many things that's rewarding and really enriching to be a part of the Derby community. I think the community itself, just being able to give back to the community at large that we're a part of. In Madison here, we do a lot of community and outreach events. We just did one the other day and this last week, Tats for Tots with Ultimate Arts. They do a collection of toys and things to be donated, and they give raffles away, so we help them with that. For the bout on Saturday, we are combining up with the Northside Planning Council, so some of the ticket proceeds will go to them. You know, and so that giving back and just meeting different people, part of the community, and being a woman, I think having the opportunity to make friendships and really close connections as an adult is something that is hard to do sometimes. And so I think it's a really important and really enriching community to be a part of in that sense.
Check it out, Roller Derby this weekend. Allie Gator, thanks for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics. Yes, believe it or not, even though it is cold outside, it is still a busy time for baseball players as they're part of traveling teams and getting ready for the baseball season that's going to be coming up in the spring. And along those lines, let's bring back in a familiar face. It's Jeff Nelson with Team Heat Baseball. And welcome on in, Coach. And, you know, I think everybody always wants to know, too, how long have you been coaching? How long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this about 20 years. I started coaching back my daughter in softball. Brought her into it first, and that's how the whole thing started. Then my boys started getting into it. As they got about 9, 10, they started t-ball. I went in from softball into baseball. And it's kind of been, been there ever since, and that's kind of what my passion's been, and really enjoyed it since that point.
Okay, interesting. So it's actually softball that got it started for you.
Absolutely.
And that's why you started Team Heat Baseball? It's
not quite. I mean, Team Heat Baseball actually started, in a total different manner. My boys were 9, 10 years old. We ended up playing a tournament. We were in the finals. We were the last 2 teams in the finals for the tournament. And the team beat me. I was kind of a little bothered by it. And I come to find out they were a traveling team. So I kind of like, you know what? I started going to the coach and started talking to him a little more. I asked him if he would be willing to play us, if I got a few kids together and, play against them, against their traveling team. Come to find out about 2 weeks later, we ended up getting everything together. We went out there, played against them on their turf, on their field, and we played against them and won. So it was a different game. At that point, I'm like, this is what I want to do. This is fun. So that's basically how Team Heat started.
Yeah, and it's great stuff. We had my son Joey on, the last time, got to talk to him a little bit, and I know that his game has progressed a lot. So as far as developing baseball players, what do you think is important in developing their games?
Baseball's fundamentals. I mean, there's so many things to learn. I mean, pitching, hitting, throwing, your footwork, your hands, your feet. The mental part of the game is there's a ton of things to learn in this game. It is not an easy game to learn. A lot of the kids got to remember too, it's a game. And these kids got to understand, this is a game, it's supposed to be fun. Enjoy it. If you're not having fun, why do it?
Absolutely.
Fundamentals are huge in this game.
Yeah, and there's so much to it in baseball. It's a game that I've been around for a long time. I learned something every single time, which is the great part of the game. As far as an age-wise, if someone's out there that says, hey, I got a kid, I think he's going to be good at playing baseball, what age would you recommend that they start playing competitively?
I think, you get a kid that, it shows interest in playing ball, at any level, where they feel like you see them in town and they're excelling and they're not being challenged. I think a kid at 8, 9, 10, any age like that, the earlier the better. There's so much to learn in this game that, there's no age group that you can actually start this kid. If you get the kids younger, the better. There's so much to learn. There's a lot of things we can actually teach the kids.
Absolutely. Now, Coach, I know that you got some openings. I'm guessing too. Is that right? And teams are forming.
Yep, we got some. We have an 8, 9, 10 youth group that we're putting together. We got 11 youth group that we're putting together. There's a couple kids yet, and 13. We have a couple kids we're looking for yet. So yeah, definitely.
Excellent stuff. Get involved, Coach. Thank you. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Thank you.
A special thank you to Conan Automotive in Stoughton for supporting local athletics. After Thanksgiving, one of the cool things is that you get all those leftovers. And for us in the sports world, some of the leftovers are actually recapping a season or two. And that's what we're going to do right now as we take a look at what happened during the cross-country season as we bring in Brian Finnell and Alexa Richardson to talk about that there with Middleton Cross Country. And welcome on in, guys. And if you could, give us a little recap if you could. Tell us what happened during the season.
Well, I think we had a pretty good season overall. We had a lot of accomplishments throughout the year. We had a lot of wins on both sides for the girls and for the boys, and a few freshmen stepped up this year, which really surprised us and I think surprised them, and they really helped the team out. We had one girl individually qualify for state. She did really well at the state meet and, in my opinion, ran her best race.
Yeah, absolutely, couldn't agree more. The boys finished 3rd at the state meet. This is our 4th year in a row, so we were really excited to be back there, and that was our highest finish since 1992. So we're hoping that we keep the ball rolling here at Middleton for both programs.
Yeah, and Brian, what does that actually mean for you guys? To qualify for state again, 4 in a row. You got the shirt on and everything. I love it. So talk about that. Well, what does that mean as far as an achievement for your team?
Well, I think for the seniors and the juniors, the guys that have been in the longest, to see all that hard work just pay off. A lot of time and energies went into producing such a high quality season. And so for us, it just means another stepping stone to maybe reaching a state title in the future. And I think the guys really worked hard, and I'm hoping that they can keep it going long term. Overall, though, we couldn't have been more proud of the guys. They did a great job this year.
You've both mentioned seniors so far. Do any of your seniors plan on running in college? If so, where are they going?
Well, the girls haven't committed yet. We have a couple of seniors who are looking at different Division II and III schools, kind of trying to push them towards those Division II or Division I schools. They are better than they think they are, but we got one of the boys.
Yeah, senior Gus Newcomb is going to attend Colorado next year, and he's the only senior that's really got a clear-cut path of what he's going to do. A couple other people, express interest but aren't really sure yet what they're going to do.
Now, as far as some of the challenges that you had this season, what were they, and was it a challenge being a first-year head coach?
It was a challenge for both of us. We had a lot of fun. There were a lot of bumps in the road, and I think one of our favorite sayings this year was, well, at least we know for next year. Yeah. I think the biggest thing for us, and it may sound silly, is the paperwork. I still don't think I did any of it right. We just kind of winged it, and I think that was the biggest thing for us. So
yeah, just not knowing what needs to be next on the table for us to do like right now, and sometimes we fell behind a little bit on what needed to get accomplished for the next meet as far as meet lineups, or just a lot of emails with the booster club, not really knowing that whole process. So a lot of new things overall, but the paperwork was definitely something that was new to both of us.
One thing about paperwork, there's always going to be more of it,
Yeah.
so good luck with that. Yeah, congrats on a great season, and we'll check in on you hopefully next year.
Thank you very much.
Brought to you by Conan Automotive, taking care of you by taking care of your family's car.
One of the great things about the athletic department at Waunakee High School is they got such a variety of things that you can do. And for the girls up there, they can even play lacrosse as we bring in the head coach of the Waunakee High School girls lacrosse team. That's Ashley Lochner. And Ashley, thanks for joining us. And if you could, tell us a little bit how you got involved with lacrosse, not only with Waunakee, but with Mela as well.
I originally started coaching lacrosse back in 2009. I'd been working in Waunakee during that time and just kind of stumbled into it. So I helped participate for the first 2 years before it was involved in Mela. Stepped away to go to nursing school, and when that was all said and done, I'd happened to sit down on the couch one day with my husband and say, I really wish that I could get back into coaching again. And the next week I had an email that said, would you come back? We need a coach. So long story short, since 2015 season, I've been back coaching and been a part of the Mela conference ever since.
Excellent. And you're a part of a sport that's really seeing some explosive growth. I mean, it's something that on the East Coast that's really taken off, and we're starting to see that in the Midwest as well. So what do you expect as far as growth in Wisconsin going forward?
Well, in Wisconsin, we are kind of lagging behind some of our sister states like Minnesota, Illinois, and Michigan. For example, last year alone, Minnesota had 83 girls teams sanctioned in the state. Here in Wisconsin, we're not sanctioned yet, but it is a long-term goal. We had 25 teams in the state last year for girls alone, and this year for Mela, we're expecting about 2 to 3 more teams to come in at the youth and middle school level, and we have one more team coming in at the high school varsity level, with DeForest advancing into a JV and varsity program.
Oh wow! So I mean that's still pretty good growth, and it seems like it's getting more and more organized. So are there expectations, I guess, for players, or can they expect to play beyond high school?
Oh, for sure. That's actually one of my biggest pushing points about being a varsity coach, is helping those girls get to the places that they want to go. In prepping for this interview, I did do a little bit of research looking at NCAA websites and then our Lax Power, which keeps track of all my players' stats as they move forward. And right now, best estimates are 1 in every 27 girls that play at the high school level does have the chance to play at the D1 level.
Wow.
So with 15 players on a team, likely 20 to 25 on a bench, there is substantial opportunity for these girls to keep moving forward and playing at that next level.
All right, so for students that are interested in finding out more about getting started in lacrosse, how would they do that, Ashley?
So they can go to madlax.org. That is the Mela Association website, which is our conference here in the Madison area. They can also check in with their athletic director of their school. And right now, the really cool thing about lacrosse, if they don't have it in your school, say for example, you play and live in Sauk Prairie, you could co-op with a neighboring team like Waunakee and actually play at that level until your school is able to support a team.
Good stuff. Ashley Lochner, thanks for joining us here in the Sports News.
Thank you.
Hey, a big thank you to all of our guests that were able to come in today. Also, a thank you to you for watching as well. And a thank you to the sponsors that keep us on the air, especially Rick and the boys over at the Red Zone on Regent Street and Conant Automotive in Stoughton. That's been keeping us on for a long, long time. We do appreciate it. And we hope to see you next time right here on the Sports News on Wisconsin's 57 Sports.